Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made these cards. And this is a strip from a One Sheet Wonder, so I'm just going to show you how I made that part of it. And let's get started. The products that I used is Beautiful Friendship stamp set. I used this stamp, this stamp, this stamp, and this sleeve, and on one of the cards the sentiment. There is a new suite coming out in the new annual catalog, and I'm using a couple pieces from that. I'm using ornate border dies. I'm using this little die here. Put that back so I don't lose it. I'm using the Ornate Floral 3D Embossing folder. And for ink, I have Real Red, Mossy Meadow, Pear Pizzazz, and Memento. And then I have the Crinkled Seam Binding. I don't have much left of that. It's almost gone. Okay, for paper, consumables, I'm going to spread these out so that I can get a better stamping. I have a 2 3/4 by 8.5 inch strip. I have a ½ inch strip of white that I die cut that border out of. I have 2 card bases, 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4, and 1 piece of cherry cobbler, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5. Okay. And where can I put these so they're not going to be in the way? Alright, so let's stamp this first. I'm going to start with this stamp here and the Pear Pizzazz ink. Can you see that still if I move it like that? Okay. And I'm going to use this, has a natural curve to it, so I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to start over here and I'm going to have it arch so that the point of it is up. It doesn't really matter which way you're doing it. But basically I'm making like a swag. I think I started too high. Let's turn it over. And then, so now I'm going to swoop down, and then I'm going to swoop up, overlap this end a little bit, swoop down, and just keep going all the way across this card. Scrap on the end here because I don't want to stamp on my mat. Okay, so that's that part. Now I'm done with this color ink altogether. Now I'm going to come in with the solid rose. That one. Move this up here a little bit. And the Real Red ink. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this solid rose at each one of these intervals here. Like we're making a swag. This rose is at the top of each one of them. Okay. I'm going to come in with this one, and it's 2 of them on a stem. I'm going to try not to ink up the stem, so I'm going to do it from the corner or the back side of my ink pad. Try not to ink up the stem. If you do, it's alright. And I'm going to just randomly add 2 flowers there. Let's add a couple here. Whoops, I forgot I inked up this stem. Wash it off. Let's see, let's do this one here. Let's do this one up here. I guess it doesn't really matter which way. Okay, now I'm going to wash this off. I'm going to actually use my chamois to wash it off because I want to just ink the smaller of the flowers and just get a couple single ones. So I want to be really careful and just ink up that little flower. Then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to stamp a couple of those. Just ink the little one. If you get the other, just bring a rag in, wipe it off. Alright, where else do let's put that aside for a minute. I'm going to bring in the leaves and the Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm going to fill in some leaves. I'm going to stamp, turn the stamp and stamp again. I'm just going to fill in a few spots with these leaves. Down at the bottom of the swag a little bit. No two are ever going to be the same unless you're doing them all at the same time. Just as kind of random and fun. Almost done here. A little bit more. Whoops, I forgot to stamp off, but that's alright. A little bit over here. And I'm going to bring this one and I'm going to stamp one off here because, oops, I just stamped it in the wrong color. That's, that's alright. So, you know what? I'll do it on purpose just so that it has a little bit of, so that it looks like I was supposed to do it. I'm just going to do it on that side though. Should I do one more here? Okay. Alright, let's wash this off. Alright, now I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I'm going to cut this in half. Go ahead and use this trimmer here. Let's get these out of the way. And this is 8.5, so I'm gonna, or no, this is 11, it should be. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut it at 5.5. That should take it to so that I have a piece for each one that's equal size. It's 2 3/4 by 11, this piece. It's okay. All right. I'm going to bring in this. I'm going to bring in my snips. Left on the other table. And I'm going to snip this out because it doesn't cut all the way to the end. Okay. So I'm bringing in one of my cards and my wet glue. I'm going to adhere the cherry cobbler piece to the front of my card. It's the same exact size as the card front. Okay, then I'm going to bring in one of these pieces. And I'm going to mount that to the front of that right there. I need to stamp that sentiment. So let's bring the sentiment and the memento ink. Birthdays are the best days. And I'm going to stamp that below this. I just want to make sure I got enough room here. It's about 1 inch or so from the edge. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to adhere this with the wet glue to the front of the card. I'm going to leave about a little, like 1/8 of an inch here at the top, 1/4 of an inch. Oops, I want it to be straight though. There we go. That looks better. Okay, now I'm going to bring in that ribbon. Hopefully I have enough for 2 cards. Oh, I might not. Okay. So, tie it in a bow. Oops, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Sorry, I'm not talking. I have a hard time tying bows on things. And keeping them where I want them to be tight. Come on. Tighten that up. Put it where I want it. Snip the end so that it's nice and straight. Clip this end. Pull that around just a little bit more this way. And then I can add a glue dot underneath it if I need to hold it in place. There's card number 1. Okay, this card, I'm going to bring in my die cutting embossing machine. I'm not going to have enough ribbon for this one. I'm going to have to figure out something else for that part. But I'm going to emboss the front of this card with the Ornate Floral 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the embossing folder. And this is exactly the same width as your machine. So you need to be very careful that it's lined up on the plate so that you don't mar up the edge of it. Make sure it's in there straight. Alright, and put this plate on top. And this is one of the new 3D embossing folders, so I'm going to be using the blue plate. Run it through my machine. Alright. Awesome. Alright, fold this back up. Alright, now I'm going to bring in my phone folder and I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to give it a little bit of a crease from the back. I don't want to do it on the front because I don't want to squash that embossing I just did. I'm going to bring in my piece and this little die cut, and I'm going to glue that to the back of my paper. So I just need a little tiny bit of glue at the bottom of it. If you get too much glue, bring in a scratch paper and set it on the scratch paper. It'll take some of it off. Try to center it up so that you have the same amount on each side of the decoration. Turn it over and clip it off. Okay, now we're going to put dimensionals on the back of this. I'm going to use the dimensional to act as a little bit of additional glue to hold these stitch thing on. I could have made this a little bit fatter. That would have probably made it easier. Okay, take those backs off. These are coming off fairly easily today. Okay, then I'm going to put this on I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch from the top. Okay, then I used this ribbon. Obviously I don't have enough. And I made another bow here on the top. So let me put you on pause and let me see if I can find a different ribbon I can use. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to try this ribbon. This came in that sweet, I believe it's Old Olive, but I think it goes fairly nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow here on the top. Get that a little bit more than I need. Just wrapped it around the inside. This ribbon comes in a 2-pack. There's this color and then I think the other color is terracotta tile. It's pretty. Clip it off. That's all the waste. Push it up where I want it. There we go. There's the card we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. And here's the other ones. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.